Hey everyone, welcome to another process video. I'm Jenny and there's a look at the layout I'm going to make today, and I'm just laying down a foundation of gesso. This is going to move through really quickly and then it will actually slow down quite a fair bit. So I just had a little bit of a problem with my software and yeah, bear with it, so it will slow down. So I just laid down some gesso and now I'm just using a stencil and I'm putting some texture paste through it, and I'm having the paste quite thick because I want that background texture to be very noticeable, so I'm not wanting it to be faint at all. So just putting quite a thick lot in there, but I'm not looking for perfection. I don't mind that it doesn't actually match up perfectly. So I'm going to have a photo sitting on that and it's all going to be fine. So I actually went out, there we go, slowed down a bit. I went out and just put that stencil in a tub of water until I could go and have time to clean it, and that will just stop it drying on there like glue. So if you use texture paste or modeling paste or anything on your stencils, gesso, you need to go and get it dried, cleaned I should say, quick smart, before it actually dries, because it will dry like cement and you won't get it off and your stencil will be ruined. But anyway, back to the layout. So I'm laying a foundation of colour down. I've got some Prima pencils and all I'm doing is doing the water brush to pencil technique. So you actually just touch the end of your pencil with a paintbrush that is wet or one of the water brushes, and you can squeeze a little bit of water out of the barrel. And I'm not actually touching the pencil. I know it's hard to tell, but I'm not actually touching the pencil to the page. I'm actually just touching the paintbrush to the pencil. And because these watercolored pencils are really heavily pigmented, you can actually take a lot of that color and drag it along the page. So as long as your paintbrush is wet, you can actually drag the color and you actually get lots of different variations in the one color that you're using. So I really love this technique. I think it's lots of fun, has a great it's more of a controlled look, I guess, than the paper packaging technique, and so I really enjoy it, but still get the watercolor look. And so every now and then I sort of load up my paintbrush and then flick some of the paint on as well, so that I can carry some of that colour throughout the whole page. And I'm just pulling out another packet now. I think I was looking for a pink and I didn't have one, so I'm just going for these Portfolio watercoloured crayons, and so they are very similar to the gelatos and or the what's it called, Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. So they do the same thing. You can actually just touch the wet brush to the crayon and let some of it like drip off, and also let it either drip straight off to the crayon or touch it to your brush and then touch the brush to the page. So there you go, I'm flicking some of that water along onto the page, and then I'm just scribbling some on the craft mat, adding some water to it. So you can't see my water jar, but I've just got a water jar on the table, and checking to see whether I need anything else. And I think I'm going to pull out some of this blue again, some of this beautiful aqua, and do a few paint splatters with that one, and just slowly bringing up and bringing a few different colours into it. I'm not sure if I actually pull out, we will see now, whether I pulled out some watercolour in the pink or whether I just leave that. I think I'm pretty much done. Yep. So I didn't add any more to that, so that's how quick that was. And I've just got this piece of paper here from 7 Dots Studio, and I'm just gutting the middle out, and because I just wanted to add a touch of pink to the outside of the white frame. So I'm just going to trim the white cardstock down a little bit, and so that you can see a little bit of pink poking through on the outside, and that helps to highlight the pink that's actually on the page. So just patting that down, stuck the sticky tape on, and now I'm just going through, as I love to do, and rough up the edge of the white cardstock. I couldn't quite get my finger under there. I was actually wondering today why my finger was hurting, and I think this is why. So it was actually getting, I think I got a paper cut under my nail. So just checking it out, and I'm cutting off the little rough bits. I think my blade's getting a bit worn and the paper's quite thick, so I needed to just cut that off a bit. So I've got these little squares, and that was on the 7 Dot Studio paper as well, and instead of just using them as square elements on my page, I've decided that I'm going to mat my photo with them. So I don't like to waste anything, and this brings a little bit more of that pink. I think in the paper there's a bit of pink and the blues and the purple, so it was actually a really good little collection to use. So just you know, easy peasy. Have a look at that. There's not much thinking. I'm actually just sticking them down, and you know, I don't mind bits sticking out. I don't mind that it's uneven. That's actually the look that I'm going for, and I'm just making sure that I haven't got two, you know, dark pinks next to each other, and that, you know, the colours are evenly spread around underneath the photo. So now I'm just grabbing some leftover bits from another project, and I'm adding that to the page as well. So this photo here is a photo that went into our local newspaper. So at the end of 2013, I was one of the lucky winners to win a national scrapbooking competition for one of our local scrapbooking magazines. And so the magazine is called Scrapbooking Memories. And so for the year 2014, there were I think it was about 8 of us who were classed as scrapbooking masters, and we had the wonderful privilege of being in a magazine every month for a whole year and having certain criteria that we had to fulfill. So we were given scrapbooking papers, etc., and, you know, told to scrapbook with those, and our little picture of our faces went in the magazine, and we just got to showcase some of our work. So my husband works for a newspaper, and he was the editor at the time, and so of course he wanted me to go into the newspaper, etc. So this was one of the photos that we took, and just showing some of my layout. So, you know, that was at the end of 2013, so a 2014 rain, and I hadn't even scrapbooked that yet. So, you know, here we are getting towards the end of 2015, and I'm only just doing that now. So, but that's okay. I'm happy to, you know, have finally got this one down in the album. So all you saw me do there was, you know, build up that background. And I still haven't stuck it down to the page yet, because I'm not exactly sure how far I want my title to go down or exactly what I want to do. So you saw me fiddle, my camera stopped, and the only thing you missed out on was that I actually stuck those little strips at the top of the page and at the bottom, and I got rid of that piece of paper that I had at the right hand side. And I stuck some foam on the back to give it a little bit of a lift and dimension. So this is just some craft foam that I picked up at my local Spotlight, and it's cheaper than buying double-sided foam, and it works really well because it's not really thick, so it just gives a bit of dimension to the page. And that little scrapbooking memories, that was a part of you know, the prize that I won, and so I have embossed it with blue, or this aqua colour, and I was really happy with the way it came out. I think I had to do a few you know, layers of it, but you know, it worked out really well. So just adding a little bit of craft glue to the back of that and sticking that down. And I think I've made some little what is it called, epoxy, is it epoxy stickers things, like the fake flare things, and in the same 7 dots paper, and just sticking them around the page, trying to find, you know, where that's going to go. I don't need to embellish a lot to this page because there's so much happening in the background. I cut that little this is hot arrow out of one of the cut apart sheets from this collection, and the little fake word stickers are from the Maggie Holmes stamp that I used, the phrase stamp that I showed in a haul, the last haul video I made, and so I've just stamped them out onto some spare paper, and you know, just am using them like I would those little tiny word stickers. So if you've got one of those phrase stamps, pull it out and stamp some words, you know, onto a piece of paper and have them ready at your disposal, and they don't cost anything. So what have I got there? You make me happy, treasured memories, happy little moment, and this is hot arrow, and you make me happy, hello, I love you, and the best ever. So I'm actually just sticking them down with a bit of that Tombow glue, and then I do come back with my tiny attacher and staple them to the page as well, because you know, they were trying to be stuck over gesso and over the textured paste, so it was a little bit yeah, it wasn't a nice flat surface, so they were finding it hard to stick still. And I think I also just grabbed a little bit of gold thread and popped that underneath the photo as well, and I've got that poking out at the top and the bottom. So here I am with my tiny attacher, and just making sure that they are not going to fall off and give me an unpleasant surprise. And I'm looking at it thinking I'm pretty happy with that. I was going to staple those strips on, but I couldn't get the stapler to reach that far, so I gave up on that idea, and now I'm just adding some gold Heidi swap to it and some colour shine it is. And I think that's pretty much going to call it a day. It was a fun layout. It took me about an hour to make, I think. Just going to clean up. I splattered my desk, so I'm just cleaning that up a little bit. I think that I'm going to give you a little bit of a close-up, sticking those letters down. I did go back later on and actually stick them down with some glue because they were moving around. Aha, I haven't finished. So I've decided to pull out my watercolors now, and I'm just adding a little bit of detail to the page, as you will see me do, and this is something I really love to do and do quite often. And so I'm just squirting my paints down, and I'm just going around those areas that I want to highlight and add a little bit more colour. So it's just a little soft touch of colour to the page, and will help bring some of those elements in and make it look more cohesive. So I add a little bit of colour to those, you know, branding strips at the top and the bottom, and help them blend into the page so that they aren't just pieces of paper stuck on there, that they actually, the colour from the other elements actually carry through. And because those thickers that I won in 2014 were white, they weren't standing out that well. So by adding a little bit of colour around them, it actually helps them to stand out, and you can actually see the title more. So that's a little tip for you, is to add a little bit more colour to your page, and just, yeah, taking it around some of those elements, like I said, and just adding some colour to those things to make them look as if, you know, they had, all the colour had been done at once, not just some at the very end. So it's actually a very fun little technique. It doesn't saturate the paper because it's very, you know, quite dry, and all I have done is I've squirted some water into the little cover, which has got the little wells in it, and I'm just making sure that, you know, I dip the water brush in there, so then I'm having just a different degrees of color intensity, so I'm able to have, you know, a bright look, and then I you know, dip the brush in water and keep going, and so it just softens the watercolor down a little bit. I hope that that makes sense. In my head it makes perfect sense, but sometimes getting what's in my head out of my mouth does not make perfect sense. So anyway, I'm finished. So just showing you a close-up so that you can see all of that beautiful detail in the texture paste and the beautiful color. There we go, it's come into focus. And you can see, there we go, the watercolor under the 2014, and just see how it helps to just make that stand out a little bit. There's some of my layouts, there's me, and there we go, you can see the watercolor in that I1 as well, and around those words. So that is it. You will see some stills at the very end, and I think that I am done. So I really enjoyed doing a mixed media layout. Sometimes I love the mixed media layouts, sometimes I just love, you know, regular paper and no mixed media. I go between the two of them and I really enjoy them both. I can't say that I have a favourite. Sometimes I just want to play with some ink and different mediums, and other times I don't want to. So yeah, so pull out your watercolors or your mixed media, have fun with this you know, paintbrush to pencil technique. It is lots of fun, it's quite easy to do, and you know, makes a beautiful dramatic background with not much fuss at all. And there's that beautiful gold Heidi Swap colour shine, just adds a nice little finish to the page. And I didn't even use my black splatters on this one, shock horror, but I did on the next layout. So I haven't got rid of them all together, I just wanted to keep this one soft and pretty. So yeah, I will leave you there, and thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.